Our guest joining us via Zoom is Ebere Amaraizu, who is a former police public relations officer in Enugu State. And our conversation is on Chelsea manager proud of reaching CWC final. Good evening, Ebere.
Hello, good evening.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Just as we read before, what would the win of the 2025 Club World Cup mean for Chelsea's global brand and the ownership right now?
Yeah, thank you very much. Talking about what it will mean to Chelsea, of course, it's going to mean a lot to them. It's going to help in boosting uh, their image, one, and it's going to restore confidence, amongst the team, particularly Enzo Maresca, who tried to make a statement during the league proper in England, but that wasn't possible too. Even though he was also able to pick up a slot and all that, but championship slot. It kind of is going to kind of help him to see those that he's going to rely on as they gear up to commence uh, the English season come next month and all that. So it's a way of boosting their confidence. It's going to boost their confidence. It's going to boost the image, and it's going to give him a direction on who to rely on or who not to rely on and all that. That's what's going to mean to Chelsea as a team.
Okay, then, so how has Chelsea's journey so far to the final reflected their tactical team and their evolution since the last European triumph?
At first, all teams, the team was not dedicated for Chelsea or dedicated for this. But then, because it was 32 club side, that was picked, for for this tournament, for this competition and all that. But in all this, clubs come with their pattern. They come with their objectives. They come with their approach and all that. Like for Chelsea, we know which very determined. Yes, and they know that it's not really going to be easy. But should something be expected at all? Yeah, it's just a kind of to have this. So they prepare their mindsets and they kind of begin to work towards that to ensure that they get to this point. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I know I've been following Enzo Maresca, and I know what I've been trying to do. I kind of to turn around some things, went going, by things that as it did not go away the way you looked at it. So it has not really been easy. Most of the club side we are tipped. We had Inter Miami. We have a whole of them that also played. We have African teams that also tried to do that too. Try to compete. But Chelsea, has been kind of consistent, sort of. They been apart from the other loss when they lost the other one, they were able to come up and rejig and became formidable. And so also with Real Madrid and of course PSG too. So this, we have come to the balance of the Titans. So any clash you are going to have right now is reserved, for the Titans right now. So it's a very good thing that the clubs that are making waves, have come to this stage, and it's going to give us an interesting tournament or interesting final to watch.
Okay, currently it's is information reaching me is that PSG had just scored 1-0 against Real Madrid. 2-0 actually against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Do you think even without Mbappe in the field, do you really think that they have the tactics and with their current squad, can they really have this win against Real Madrid?
I'm not seeing Real Madrid will actually try to make some statements. But in as much as I wouldn't want to write anything off, but I'm not clearly seeing Real Madrid to come out of this. So what we pundits, or including me, are predicting is we're predicting PSG Chelsea clash, which is actually going to produce some things, make it interesting because PSG has been a thorn on the flesh of English teams. If you watch during the championship, yes, they tried to eliminate almost all the teams that came up. They were eliminated during the Champions League by PSG, and of course they got to the final. You know what happened? Yes. Now, if Chelsea, if they should play final with Chelsea, and Chelsea now, is able to rewrite the history and put things in a correct perspective, then it will go a long way to boost Chelsea's image and restore confidence. So I'm not, as far as this game is concerned, I'm not seeing Real Madrid, because of course they were like, let us do this, and because they're still trying to build up, they have lost some stars, and some movement has taken place and all that. So they are also trying to build up, and but PSG have been formidable because they've been on with games that just they are finished playing and all that. So I'm not seeing Real Madrid coming out from this issue. So it's going to be Chelsea PSG, and it's going to be an interesting match to watch.
Okay, then. So let's go over talking about Chelsea fans. How have they, globally responded to these particular developments, knowing that Chelsea is on for the finals?
Yes, I think since they voiced today and all that, some platforms, it's agog with expression of happiness, expression of satisfaction, particularly as their club side qualify for this all-important final. It's a club World Cup game, FIFA World Cup game. That's usually happen where 32 teams were drawn and all that, and they see them moving. So that's why I'm telling you that it is going to what it is not only Chelsea per se, it's going to affect their followers. It's going to boost their followership too. It's going to restore confidence because almost all the Chelsea followers are happy with the development. So it's going to restore this in back. Yes, that and the Enzo Maresca that is doing something another that. So it means a lot to them another because to them it's a good comeback. Haven't tried to seem as if they have lost all during the normal EPL game, but they are not coming up like this to do this. So with this, at least they have something to say. Okay, yes, this is something. Even though we did not do this during the league, but to have this to fall by and all that. So it's a good way. It's a good way to start the new season, which commences by August. So it's going to be a boost.
Let's take it from the angle of the Super Eagles, knowing that there has been like a whole lot of back and forth qualifying for the World Cup qualifiers. How has, the supporters of Super Eagles really balanced their emotions and frustration with all this back and forth?
Football, like we usually say, because I'm talking from the angle because as a sports coach and as a psychotherapist, a CBT, cognitive behavior therapist coach. Football is not, only domiciled at the balance of technical and tactical, because there are other preparations. There are preparations that touches the emotion, that touches, the mental strength of that particular player. So that will cut across a whole lot of things, to give the athletes the holistic, tendency, to be able to prosecute or execute whatever plan he has at particular match too. So I'm seeing Super Eagles, they are concentrating on technical and tactical without huge concentration on the emotional well-being or the general well-being, which will help to boost whatever thing they are doing. And if you continue that way and going, then we may not get the desired result. That's why most of the times we struggle to get the result. It's not as if we don't have stars. Yes, we have stars, but it depends on how mentally stable, mentally powerful that they are, or emotionally powerful. We have to look at the emotional strengths, we have to look at the mental strengths, and they will now look at the general awareness, then which will now join with the technical and the tactical abilities of each of the athletes. Because it is this emotional strength and mental strength that carries, the burden, that's body that thrown by technical and tactical ability. So if you are not able to have this, and that's it, that then you begin to run from pillar to pole. So we are trying to see or account, advocate, for more of this to be true, so that they'll be able to look at them, be more purposeful, and be able to look at it and see how we can score a point and make a statement that will be very formidable.
So having PSG score 2 points against Real Madrid, do you really think Chelsea, I mean, this is happening under 8 minutes after the match had started. Do you think the Chelsea has a chance against PSG when they are up for their finals, knowing that it's just 8 minutes into the game and we have 2 goals to 0?
You can score 3 goals, you can score 4 goals, even in 8 minutes. You can score those, it's possible. And if you look at what usually causes it is lack of concentration. And if you talk about lack of concentration, it revolves around the mental ability of athletes. Maybe they have a shift, they have something that would have touched their mood, something would have happened, and triggering complacency and a whole lot of that. But then the ability of anything to pull back and overcome whatever deficit that they would have suffered within the 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, even 30 minutes, the ability for them to come then makes that team, that formidable team that we are talking about, that resilient club side that we are talking about, because that's when resilience will be tested. The resiliency of any team is tested, through the ability of pulling back even when it matters most, and be able to somewhat overcome, reduce the deficit, and be able to at least to go into serious even winning self. They can also do that if there's, it depends on their mental dispositions, it depends on their emotional disposition. They can struggle to make sure that they reduce these deficits and move ahead and make a statement. But if that doesn't happen and they leave it now or throw it for PSG now to move on to the finals, which is now going to play with Chelsea, then that does not write off Chelsea. Like I told you, it's going to be an interesting and yes, interesting encounter. Interesting encounter in the sense that PSG have been having their way through, right from the Champions League. Almost all the English club side were eliminated by PSG. Look at the history there too. So now Chelsea will have this to contend with. Now they have come to FIFA World Club. Are we still going to join? Well, it was PSG that eliminated Liverpool, eliminated both Aston Villa, many of them too. So now it has come here. What are we going to? So it's going to be something like now mindset will come in there, and I know Enzo Maresca will try to do everything humanly possible to make sure that he writes a step. So it's going to be an interesting encounter. It's going to be a mind game. It's going to be a kind of left and the balance of those that are emotionally and mentally healthy and are mentally balanced, prepared for this. That's how it's going to be. So it's an interesting game.
All right, thank you so much, Ibera, for your contribution. Our time is over.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.